is that the underground Iraq, the entrance to this tremendous ship underground is through the museum, one of the museums in Iraq that they immediately took over when they moved in.
Yeah, I heard about that when it first started. They were looting this one museum. They were taking off all the paintings.
Well, but that's the entry to this ship.
Oh, wow.
They're going to gather once they send the word out that they're getting ready to leave. They will go through the great families of Europe and all, but they will gather under the obelisk in Egypt. This is what I heard. And then I suppose they will then move and get aboard this ship. Now, this is where it gets difficult to really get the beat on this, because is the ship physical or is it interdimensional? And it may be both. I don't know. They claim that they will shake off the bodies of the humans that they're inhabiting. So I don't know if we're going to have a trail of dead bodies, or they're just going to throw the bodies into the meat locker, or what's going to happen to the physical bodies of these people. But they say they're going to shake off the bodies.
These are these government leaders themselves?
Yeah.
They're going to shake off those bodies?
The reptilian within them is going to shake off the body.
Yeah.
They have to coat themselves with something, because I don't think that they can just be exposed to environment.
Yeah, they can't handle our atmosphere right now.
I've heard them talking about coating themselves with, it almost sounds like something metallic, a coating of something to protect them. This is where I don't know enough about terminology to really get all that.
Right. Well, they consider bodies as just containers for the soul.
Well, they consider human bodies as containers for them, and also food, and and they're parasites. So they feed on people while they're sleeping, and because they're interdimensional. So they can move into people's houses and rooms, and people don't even realize it, because they're asleep. It feels like a slight vibrational tingling on part of your body, maybe your back or chest or something, and that's when they're feeding. And I've heard this over and over, like on meditation tapes, things like that, where I'll hear them speaking in the white noise, and they'll say, "Get ready to feed," because people, if they're not protecting or shielding themselves, and they're just open, and they feed on them. Now, does that do damage? I don't know. I suppose if they have a little feeding here and there, people don't even realize that some people are attacked very viciously, because I have some friends who are attacked by this group over and over. But it's, in rituals, of course, we know that they do a lot of human sacrifice. And on the other side, when people die, they do then capture them, kill them again in the astral form, and eat that astral body. So I've heard this thousands of times. That's one of the reasons that I heard they revved up Katrina, because they were able to collect all of that meat from those people who were stranded there in New Orleans and other places and died. They cranked up that earthquake for more meat.
So all of this is they're causing all these destructions to carry these bodies off, and
once the people are die physically, they're waiting with this net. They can't get out, and they're transported. And they were I've heard that most of them were transported to Mars, although maybe there were other places just right here on Earth underground.
So their whole physical body would be disappeared, gone.
No.
Or their astral.
They didn't. The physical body is still floating around in the water, or what? There's still a physical body, but it's the astral body that has. You see, these entities do not only eat that astral meat, but there's elements, there's memory, there's oxygen, there's elements within the human astral body that also feeds them, along with the energy that they collect. Before they kill a person again in the astral, they will terrorize them.
Yeah, because they feed off of the emotions.
And they will rape them while they're terrorizing them with this threat of death, because they are then, that's one of the big ways that they collect energy is through rape. Yes, they collect energy through raping. Then when the person is just so totally terrorized, they, suck all that energy. They call that alien honey. I've heard them use
alien honey?
Alien honey.
Gross.
Then they have what they call the hanging pen, and they line the astral people up, and they hang them again. And then they go into the meat locker.
So let's just backtrack. Okay, so when a person dies, when we talk about in their astral body, it's their spirit body.
Well, yeah, it's the next body. It's the one it's closest to the physical.
Yeah, it looks just like you and everything. But I guess because I understand what the astral body is, because I've dealt with astral projectors.
Sure.
People that can astral project and go into your homes or whatever.
Sure.
They do that with their spirit bodies. How can they actually eat an astral body? Is it actually flesh?
Yeah, it's flesh on that side. And as I said, I learned this from talking to the people on the other side. I talked to I talked to loads of them.
So even though it's a spirit body, it still has flesh to it.
It still has it, because it's not the true, it's not the ultimate spirit body. There's still it's like a casing around the soul or spirit.
Yeah. So when I see people with astral projecting, if you're sensitive to the spirit realm, they look human.
Yeah.
You just can't touch them physically.
Right.
So I didn't realize that they were meat and flesh and all that.
In that realm, if you're in that realm, you're just as solid in your astral body and those others as you are when you come back here and you're in the physical.
Do they know they're dead?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they know they're dead. Just told me how it happened.
I know that I've seen in the codes about these prisons on Mars.
Yeah.
And all these people, and I could never understand. I figured they were just taking people off the Earth, or people that they've tricked to work for the government. These scientists who have families, and they take them off onto Mars, and then they become prisoners there or whatever, and they can't leave. They just have to work for the government forever. That's what I was. I just didn't know what to think of it.
Yeah, and what happens apparently, because I've heard this quite a few times, the actual spirit, the real soul or spirit of that person, once they're killed again in the astral, then that person, usually what happens is they go into a sleep state. They are out of reach of these entities. They say they're under the net. They are out of harm's way, because I guess it must be so exhausting that they just go into a sleep state. And I think this is where the resurrection happens.
Okay, well, we have to do now is take a 5-minute break.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back for a second hour. We're gonna go for a full hour tonight, folks. Full second hour with Peggy. And so we're going to take a 5-minute break. Don't go anywhere. Just hang on. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you then, folks, in about 5 minutes.